Good morning, everyone. We will now call to order our St. Lucie County School Board Special Work Session Meeting, April 26, 2022. And would you please stand with us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you. Okay, today we're going to have the following items for discussion. We're going to do our strategic planning, and in an effort to support the growth of students, educators, support staff, and community members, as well as board members and superintendent, will discuss ways to make St. Lucie County Public Schools a world-class educational system. The following goals and priorities will be presented today. Goal 1, to ensure a robust instructional delivery system, whether in person, virtually, or a combination of both. Goal number 2 will be to provide a safe and healthy learning and work environment for our employees and students. And goal number 3 will be to strengthen the delivery of services to address social and emotional well-being and mental health needs. At this time, we will turn the meeting over to Mr. Gent for those goals to be discussed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Give me 1 second.
Maybe you should try the good morning over again.
Good morning.
I'm the only one to say good morning back.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Thank you, Terrence. Let the record show that Terrence. Okay.
You know, I was meant to be a teacher. I can correct y'all people over there.
Okay. So we have 3 items this morning on our agenda. Number 1, we're going to talk about the referendum and gearing up for that, which will be in November. Secondly, it'll be followed by our summer learning adventure camps. Dr. Wild will do a presentation about where we are with that process, and then thirdly, followed up with just a brief update on where we are with DDD High School and Tradition in Westwood and where we are in that planning process and through that process. So we're going to first start with the referendum. You can see on the screen here, thank you voters, a promise made, a promise kept. This is one of our, it's my tag on all of my emails that I send out to anyone, and you'll see it in different places across the district. But this coming November in the general election, the referendum is up for renewal to continue the referendum. And so I just kind of wanted to bring the board up to date as to where we are right now and then what our next steps will be. We're very, very fortunate this morning. I believe we have I think we have everybody. And I'll call their name and just ask them to stand so you know who they are. Representing ESOL CTACU is Felicia Bruce. Everybody knows Felicia. You all didn't know you're going to get clapped for this morning. So, and then Brian Garcia is Debbie Holly's appointee over there. Is Candace here this morning? I wasn't sure if she could make it. Okay, she's our at-large appointee. She wasn't sure. Lynette is Miss Richardson's appointee. Okay. Debbie Mock is Troy, and Debbie is our chair, and she'll come up in a couple of minutes and she'll say something. Is Gwen here? Gwen Morris, Dr. Mills' appointee. We weren't sure if she was going to make it or not as well. And then our newest member, Jack's appointee, Mr. Gary Wilson. It's very difficult. It's hard to keep looking at Gary and not seeing the green uniform on him. And so he's retired. What, about a year now?
6 months.
6 months. Okay, so he's looking tanned and relaxed, and he's got I think he's got a golf tee off in a little while. Anyway, so this group, we have met with this group throughout, this is our meeting times where we have met. Our initial meeting was August 29th, 2019. And then you can see the dates there. The last meeting we had was last month on March 10th. And what we do at these meetings, and I'll show you all in a moment what we do and how we review information with the board. This is part of the language that was in the ballot language itself that talks about an independent oversight citizens advisory board. I'd like to call Deb Mock up, and she can kind of talk more about the committee and kind of what happens in those meetings, and hopefully she'll say how transparent we are. I'm not trying to put words in her mouth, but Deb Mock, and we appreciate Deb taking over the chair recently.
Good morning. It's nice to see everyone here and all the committee members that were able to come. As you can see, our initial meeting was in August of 2019. When we came to that meeting, we really knew that it was going to be a very wonderful thing for St. Lucie County school system. I knew personally, because I had been in the school system for so long, that the teachers and the staff were excited about everything that was going to happen. At that particular meeting, Mr. Gent went over all of the goals and what they felt that the referendum was going to be able to do for us. It was at that time we were thinking through everything and what was going to happen, and I have to say that that particular meeting was very transparent. All of the numbers were set in front of us. We discussed everything. He listened to all of the things that we had to say, because at that point they did have a skeleton of what they wanted to provide to the public to let them know what was going on. And we had some suggestions that immediately were listened to and done. One of them was, can we get more pictures of students on the website? And that was done immediately. So we knew that at that point that our voices were going to be heard, and they were, and they have been ever since. At each meeting, we basically go through the website. I know most of you have probably seen the pie chart that was created. That's always very, very helpful for us as committee members to see where the money is going per school. We get to see that, and we see it change because we have 2 to 3 meetings a year. We see where the money is allocated to go, and then by the second meeting, we see what the schools have actually spent. We know that each year the amount of money going to recruit and retain teachers is extremely significant. Because I sit on the committee, I do talk to teachers about it, and I say to them, you know, how do you feel about this? And I can tell you personally that I have been told numerous times that this referendum money has kept teachers in St. Lucie County that otherwise would have thought, maybe I can go somewhere else if the pay is more, but we are able to retain those people with us. I get to hear about the money that's allocated for the fine arts. Although it is not that much money, around $300,000, it has made a significant difference to the arts teachers. Recently, I was at the fair and high schools were presenting, and one of the fine arts teacher just talked my head off about how much the money has helped their program grow. Other than that, the mental health issue, being able to secure more counselors into the school system and all of the things that money has done, that also I get to hear about in the community, that they love the program, that they took some teachers and were able to fast track them to be counselors. And the transparency is just phenomenal. I think that as committee members, we are listened to, we get to see everything in front of us. It's very visual. Having it the first thing on the website, I think, has been helpful to parents.
Thank you. Thank you, Deb. We're going to go to the website right now and just kind of show you, and I've showed this to the board members as well, but I want to do it again. So here's this is when you're on the homepage, the referendum information is right on the homepage, and then it'll take you right here. So this is this was the ballot language from April when it was on when the citizens voted for that, and you can see the language there itself, and I'm going to talk about the new language as well. And then here's our appointees that were just introduced to you. As Deb mentioned, we have our salaries that are over here. This is negotiated with our bargaining partners, and so that's where we are right now. And then these are the mental health programs, and you can see the different, the number of positions that have been funded. And then we have our fine arts, as Deb mentioned as well. She kind of made my presentation for me. And I'm going to go into the pie chart in just a moment, and then this is our school security. When we come down to the pie chart, and you'll see that this is the 21-22 year, and if you go further, you'd see 2021, and then you would see 19-20. So each year, the expenditures and where the money has gone is on the web page. I'm just going to focus in on this year right now, and you can see right here, I can't see that number, I think it's 19 million, but that's the 70% for teachers. And then if we click on this, then this will go to the individual schools in Allapattah Flats. So I think that says, whoever can see that number. All right, so we have 24 paychecks, so our year is not complete yet, so this is updated each month. So you can see the allocation to each school, and then come June 30th, or a few days after that, that should round out. So that's an example of that. This one looks it's a pretty color, Centennial, so you got $1 million there. You can see the 731 out of 1,022. That's there. And you can do that on any school site. We come back over here, 25% of the dollars went to school security, I believe that's $6.8 million. That's there. Every high school has 2 officers in it. All the other schools have an officer, and this includes some of our charter schools as well. In the mental health area, you can see the breakdown, and that's the same information that's on the web page there with the number of positions. And then this is our arts, our fine arts programs, and you can see, I'll go in the other direction here and click. Let me see if I can click on here. Oh, that one's not working. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. So whatever that number says there, they've spent 9,100 and something out of, is that 10,250? I feel like I'm doing an eye exam right now. And, but you can see that the schools have almost spent that. Most of these are also, have been, I think they've spent all of their dollars. Where's Michelle? Some of this is encumbered, so it hasn't really been updated. So you'll see a few dollar difference. So you can go on any school site and see how they've spent the dollars at their school site as well. Before I come out of this, are there any questions from the board on the webpage or the website itself, or anything I need to clarify? Because I want to move on to the next steps. We're good? Okay. So I want to go back to the presentation itself. So on November we have the general election. And we have secured our consultant, Vancore & Associates, who we used the last time, and they did a fantastic job for us and with us. They've done other projects in the community as well. They've worked with Children's Service Council. They're currently working with the St. Lucie County Commission on a project that's going on as well. So Steve Vancore is very familiar with what we do, so we've got his services. The major change for this year, and what's important is this will be a continuation or a renewal. The major change will be, and you can see the language there, I'll just go ahead and read it. In order to raise the salaries of teachers, recruit and retain highly qualified teachers, enhance school security, improve mental health services, fund essential operations that preserve important school programs, and to distribute proportional funds to charter schools. That's what's new by state statute. Charter schools will now receive a share of the funds. And so I've been talking to the charter school representative that represents the 2 different main organizations within the charter schools. and we're going to begin to meet with them and chat with them on what this would look like as well. So, when anybody asks, what about charter schools? By state statute now, and that has changed since from 3 years ago. Charter schools will be included in this as well. Shall the St. Lucie County School District continue the current annual ad valorem operating millage of 1 mil for 4 fiscal years, with expenditures reviewed by the Citizens Advisory Committee, which you just met and Deb just spoke about, and then you can see the yes and the no. So that will be the ballot. That would be the ballot language, very similar to before, with the addition of the charter schools that's there. Our next steps would be to bring to the board in a couple of weeks at the May 10th meeting the referendum resolution, that pending board approval. Then that would go over the following month to the County Board of Commissioners, and they would authorize that. And then in August, we would submit the ballot language. We've already been working with Ms. Walker. And then November 8th would be the general election. So between, once we approve the resolution, then over the summer, we'll be working on the plan. We're working on the plan right now. The intent would be to have an outside group as well of citizens with a treasurer. Last year it was Adam Fetterman. I mean, not last year, this past, the previous one was Adam Fetterman, the attorney for the sheriff's office. And so we'll be organizing that group and have a citizens group where they can raise dollars as well for the campaign itself. The campaigning itself would kick into high gear pretty much when in August, when the students return, and you would have August and September and October. So we're laying the groundwork right now for that and to move forward. And as you heard from Deb, and I'm sure that anyone you talk to, any of our teachers and any in our schools district, as well as the mental health piece and the law enforcement piece, which is so important, the success that this has been for our county. Our surrounding counties have similar, whether it's a mill or a half cent or whatever, they do the same thing to increase the salaries. I think everybody from Monroe County up this way and even north of us. But I do know that Palm Beach, Martin, us, and Indian River County have that, and we compete for teachers and we compete for staff members, and so this has been very, very valuable to the school district. I'll open it up to any questions, Madam Chair.
Any questions, board members?
Everybody's good. So I want to appreciate the committee coming out, and Deb, you did a fantastic job with that. And Deb is also in our schools doing reading, preparing our students. Maybe some of the other folks are as well. And we were able to get some of our retired teachers to come back, and we were able to cut through some of the bureaucracy of, we're paying for fingerprinting and fast tracking them so they can be in front of the kids to assist in certain schools as well. So I appreciate what she's doing, and all of our committee members. And they'll be important through this campaigning because it's important to us, I know, and to myself personally, that there's no controversy associated with this. Every penny goes to where we say it's going to go. We can show you the last 3 years, so I commend the committee, and we have fun in our meetings, and they also ask other questions, not just regarding this, but the status of the district and what's happening here or there, and so they're excellent meetings, and so I appreciate them. And so, Madam Chair, that completes this part. The committee members, you guys are welcome to hang out. You're welcome, whatever. That's free. It's choice. It's your choice, whether you want to stay for the next two or hang out. But I do appreciate you guys taking time out from your schedule to come on over here. And then I'm going to move on to the next topic. I'm going to ask Dr. Wild to come on up. Okay. So this is one of our newer information slides that we're going to be working on, and in our information campaign that will go on, and this was just an example of that. Do you need this? Mm-hmm. So we're kicking in now, shift gears, we're kicking in to the wrapping up the school year. We've got about 5 weeks left, and then we're talking about our just like last year, to have a very full-fledged, vibrant summer program and adventure camps. We want to really attract our students to get in and to try to catch them up on learning. So, Dr. Wild, the floor is yours.
Okay, good morning, Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Gent. As Mr. Gent said, we are very excited to be able to continue our expanded summer school and reach many more children. So let me tell you the highlights as well as some changes since last year.
Let me just
Yes.
interrupt. I wanted to do this. I meant to do this. One of our committee members, and maybe Lynette, I want to congratulate her because she has a daughter? Oh, my son. Yeah, son. Fort Pierce Central, that's in the aerodynamics program, is graduating in May. So, and she, Emory Riddle, he's heading up to Emory Riddle, and so I just wanted to recognize her. Any of our other committee members have anybody graduating? Grandchild? I won't say great-grandchild. Okay. So I want to congratulate her. I know it's an exciting time when you have a senior there, and so she can see firsthand and really see what the district is doing to benefit all of our students. I meant to throw that in there, so thank you.
Congratulations. We love to see the students carry on to Embry-Riddle that are in that program. That's wonderful. Okay, continuing on with summer school, we are able to offer all of the new summer school configurations that we started with last year, including our very successful elementary learning adventure camp, our extended school year for ESE students, our 21st century program, and then our high school course and credit recovery for high school and middle school. What we did change this year is that they're all operating on the same dates, so the whole district will be in summer school in the same time frame. That was a recommendation that came from our schools and our teachers. And the dates are up here on the slide. It begins June 13th and ends July 14th, Monday through Thursday. And this year, the 4th of July is a holiday during the week. We are also continuing our kickoff camps that I will address in the future, but we are adding a 6th grade kickoff camp this year that we did not do last year. Our Learning Adventure Camp is at every elementary school once again and every K-8, and the student hours are 8 to 2. Transportation is provided for our students, and the class size is small for a lot of personalized attention, 12 to 1. This year, our ELA curriculum, our English Language Arts curriculum, is called Teacher Created Materials. Math is Hands to Mind. And then we are continuing the hands-on, really engaging STEM program that we did last year, Camp Invention, but with new modules, new activities for the students. And you can see up there, they're things like robotics and space. They're very exciting, and the kids really, really enjoyed those. Our extended school year is going to remain at Sam Gaines Academy of Emerging Technology and Oak Hammock for next year, same hours. Our 21st century schools for elementary, you can see that it is C.A. Moore, Lawnwood, Lakewood Park, Parkway, White City, as well as our middle schools, Forest Grove and Dan McCarty. All the same dates and the same hours consistent across the district. For middle school, you'll see that all of our middle schools will be offering credit recovery. This is for any student in any middle school grade who failed a course, was unsuccessful in a course. They have an opportunity to redo that course and get back on track. And you can see that that's at every school, up to 80 students per school. And then in high school, and for the hours, they're 9 to 1 at the high school level. Transportation is provided, and that is for the same purpose of getting students back on track with their credits. That used to be just for seniors, but with this expansion, doesn't matter what grade level you're in, every student has an opportunity. And then just for your information, we also provide additional staff to the schools. They have a summer school principal, which is an assistant principal serving in that role. And then they're provided 2 additional clerks to help them with the day-to-day operations and any additional needs the students might have. And then we provide additional support based on the number of students they have that are ESOL students or who need additional assistance based on their IEP. We are continuing the increased salary. where teachers, instead of receiving the summer stipend rate in previous years, they will again receive their hourly rate and an additional $7.20 an hour, and a bonus if they do work every day during the summer. And as you know, this incentive pay is based on the expansion of formerly only needing teachers for third grade summer school and seniors, and now needing them for every grade level across the district. I mentioned that I would get back to the transition camps. Last year, we did have 1 week of transition activities at the school sites. They do involve parental components, explaining kindergarten or high school to the parents. But this year, we are adding 6th grade at the request of our middle schools. And since that original decision, we are also allowing the students who are new to their K-8, if they're moving from a pure elementary to a K-8, we're going to do a transition day for them as well. Just helps them get ready for 6th grade and feel comfortable in their new surroundings. And those will be any 4 dates between July 18th and July 29th, and those dates are selected by the school, and the program is designed by the school. Same salary for teachers that participate in that.
Any questions or comments, board members? Okay, I do have a comment about last year with the learning camps.
Yes.
We also have a after-school program and summer program. And so we had several of our kids coming in after the learning camps. And I observed how excited they were going to school or going to the learning camps, the summer learning camps. And they would often come in with their projects. So it was a lot of hands-on.
Yes.
And they were really excited to talk about what they did that day and show their projects. So it was very successful according to the observation of our program, seeing the kids come in. Also, the bus transportation was extremely important because right after they complete the learning camps, they go out into the community camps.
Correct.
And so those are nonprofit organizations that work with kids. They go on, but we're busing them to those organizations. So we're working together with the community, and that was appreciative.
Well, thank you so much for that, and I'm glad you brought that up, both areas. Those kits that you're referring to, each child receives their own, and they do take it home when they're finished, and they've learned so much with that activity, and that was so successful. You are correct, and I appreciate those comments. In addition, we are continuing the transportation to the nonprofits. Children's Services Council works with us on that endeavor, along with transportation, Terrence O'Leary and his staff, and we are putting together the list of those approved nonprofit providers, and those children will be transported. So when summer school ends, if they need after-school care or they're just benefiting from those community activities, we do transport them. So I'm glad you added that.
Okay, and what's the procedure of being transported from the nonprofits? What does the nonprofits need to do to ensure their kids are coming to?
Right. We will communicate with every nonprofit. We do it with Sean Boyle as our contact, and we send that information back and forth so that we know which children are attending each facility. So we will continue that process and refine as we go along.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Wiles.
Yes.
Just one question. For a child to graduate over the summer, how do they pass the state requirement, taking the state test?
Okay. Excellent question. For many of the students, most of the students who are participating in the summer school program, seniors who were on track to graduate, they have already passed those tests for most of them, and they are just short a credit, or their GPA is just shy of 2.0, so they need to retake a D to get their grade point average high enough to meet that 2.0 graduation requirement. If they still have a test, or we're still waiting for test results to come back, then that is also something that we're monitoring during the summer for those tests to come back, and it depends on which tests that they're still waiting for. That's a good question. I also do want to add a comment about the textbooks, to just update you on how that is going, because I know that you've seen it all in the news. As you know, the state did limit the number of approved textbooks. Late in the game, they did a second round of reviews, and they did put out now an approved list of textbooks. For St. Lucie Public Schools, most of the secondary recommendations that we made at the April 12th board meeting were approved. There are a few courses at the advanced level that don't have a textbook approved yet, so we are still waiting for that to continue. For the elementary level, only one publisher was approved in the state at this point. However, all the publishers are working with the Department of Education right now and reporting that the process is moving very quickly. For elementary, that does affect 90% of the school districts across the state. So we do expect an updated list to be coming out. In addition, this is very important, I want to clarify the process. The April 12th board meeting was a public hearing only. That was on April 12th, where we did have a few speakers come out. The process does involve, our process always involves a public notice, a public hearing, followed by a public meeting on a different night where the adoption is approved and the purchase is approved. Our public meeting is scheduled for May 10th. Our public notice was in March. Our public review of the materials went from January to April 12th. Our public hearing was April 12th, and our public meeting is currently scheduled for May 10th. If all of this delays the process, we will then have to reschedule our public hearing, and I will communicate that through Mr. Gent and Ms. Harrison and Dr. Mills. But right now, our public meeting is still scheduled for May 10th. Any questions about that?
Mr. Ingersoll, you look like you have a question.
Well, does this throw off our timeline of purchasing, being able to get the materials in time for school? And if so, if we have to have a special meeting for a public hearing, I don't mind coming in to making sure that we can make that happen.
Yes, thank you. There is potential for that, and so we might be in a position to have to call a special meeting date because everything is driven by very strict timelines. And so we do want to make sure that we get our order in as quickly as possible, which is why the Department of Education is working quickly with the publishers right now, because it would affect children and teachers across the state in terms of having everything you need to start the school year.
So you mentioned on the elementary level, there was only one publisher approved. She mentioned on the elementary level that there was only one publisher that was approved. Out of how many publishers?
We reviewed, okay.
Okay. Okay.
She said 5, just to
Yes.
get it into the record, out of 5 publishers. Yes.
Any more questions, board members? No questions? Thank you so much, Ms.
You're very welcome.
Dr.
Thank you.
Wiles. Mr. Gent?
Okay, last item, and I thank Dr. Wild for the update, is we just wanted to give the board an update on the 2 schools, the DDD school and the renovation of Westwood. And so I'm going to ask Derek McSween, who is our Director of Facility and Maintenance, to come on up and to make the presentation and put Derek right to work. He's doing a great job. How long? He's been here for a few months. So,
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members, and Superintendent Gent. You're right, it's been about 2 months since I've been here, and it's been very busy and very rewarding. And we want to be able to give you a quick update on where we are on the Triple D High School, and we'll do a brief update on Westwood as well. What we want to do is start up with some key dates. Back in, as you recall, in January, the board approved the architectural agreement. We have since then met with the city of Port St. Lucie. I think really key was February 15th through the 17th. We've had a variety of stakeholder groups come in to review the conceptual plans, to give us their ideas of what they think and would like to see in the new school. And I want everybody to remember that these are just pre-schematic conceptual plans right now. Since the 17th, we did sit and meet with the city of Port St. Lucie staff to go over some ideas they have for an adjacent site to our site. We have met again with the city, with the committees here to finalize conceptual plans. 2 weeks ago, Thursday, we had a pre-proposal meeting with contractors who are interested in bidding on this job. We had a very robust turnout, so we should get a good turnout for the bids, which means that it'll be competitive. And today we're doing a review of the conceptual plans, and you'll see them in a few minutes. Parallel, we've been working on Westwood High School. The board approved the architectural agreement back in December. The architect has been out to the sites to walk them and do a assessment for the Conceptual report. We met with the city of St. Lucie County, and we have submitted the Conceptual report to the Department of Education for their preliminary review 2 weeks ago. So we're waiting for feedback from the Department of Education on that. So both high schools are in motion and they're moving forward, and we're having some very good progress. Just to give you an idea and orient you to where the site is, let me see if I can use this toy here. Of course, this, you can't really see it that well, but it's off at 95, and you go to Crosstown. If you came down and made a right to where Crosstown ends and takes a left into transition, if you kept going straight, that will be the Crosstown extension, and you can see the high school down at the end there. It's also off of Glades Cutoff Road, and I think it's Ridgeline Road, that you can have access to the back of the site there. To give you more of a Google Maps view, this is the same, that is where the cars are turning there, right off of the Crosstown Road where it stops. You'll see the extension going on down toward the high school. This was taken about a month ago, and you'll see a lot of the underground utility piping there. I drove onto the site the other day. All that piping is gone. They are making great progress out there. It's about 2,500 acres that they are developing. That is another view of a little close-up coming down the Crosstown extension. That will be, and those are mulch piles that you see that are no longer there. About 80% of them are gone. This is kind of this is a conceptual site plan, and let's see. You can see you can't really see with this pointer, but the front of the school is oriented toward the front of Crosstown extension there, Parkway. We have athletic fields. We have a 2-story admin area and classroom area with a arts and CTE building, and then a cafeteria and a gymnasium, and several of the athletic fields there. When we met with the county of St. Lucie, we talked about what their site might look like next to ours, and our architect has taken upon themselves to do a kind of an outline of what the county was thinking about, and you can see parking would overflow onto their site if there was a joint activity or they had an activity. They also have several athletic fields and a facility that they're thinking about building right next to ours. Our facility will be done before theirs gets started. I mentioned that we sat, I believe it was February 15th, 16th, and 17th, with several of the stakeholder groups who have a interest in the new high school, and these are all of the stakeholder groups that we've met with. They gave very detailed feedback, and our architect has taken their feedback and is incorporating it into their next set of drawings, which will be their schematic designs. A lot of folks, a lot of comments, a lot of feedback. These are the conceptual plans. This is the admin and cafeteria area. It's a 2-story facility. Admin and general classrooms on the first floor. And then you would have more classrooms and some more admin up on the second floor here. And again, these are pre-schematic drawings that will be developed further over the course of the next couple of months. We have the auditorium and the CTE classrooms, the layout. And then we have the gymnasium and the cafeteria. Hard to read this schedule, but on the next one, the project milestones, you'll see on the high school DDD, in January, we came into an agreement with the architect. We looking to come into a master agreement with the construction manager at risk this coming June, which is perfect timing as we are getting into the schematic design phase in August. The project agreement with the contractor, or the GMP, or the guaranteed maximum price, where we'll know how much the school will cost, will come around March of next year. We will start construction right around May of 2023 with a anticipated certificate of occupancy and completion in June of 2025, right in time for school opening in August of 2025. As I said, simultaneously, we are concurrently running activities with Westwood High School, and we have finished up the Castaldi report, which is now at the Department of Education. We're looking at entering into our contract agreement, finalizing it in August of this year. Master agreement with the contractor in December of this year, which is a few months behind Triple D. We're looking at schematic design next year. Project agreement with the contractor coming in October of next year. Started construction November of 2023, with the completion in November of 2025 for school opening in January of 2025. So we're going to be busy building 2 schools and designing 2 schools primarily simultaneously. Contractor selections is going to be very critical. We put the RFQ in the newspaper and out April 5th. We had a pre-bid conference 2 weeks ago, Thursday. We had our cutoff for questions, which was, I believe, last Thursday. We are looking at receiving qualified responses next week. We will shortlist them. We will interview the shortlisted firms on May 17th, and we will make a board recommendation for approval of a construction manager at risk on June 14th this year. Any questions?
Any questions, board? Okay, I do have, I believe, a correction with the, looking at the project milestones.
Okay.
And Westwood High School, you mentioned January 2025 school opening, but I see here it says 2026 school opening, which is 1 year later. Yeah.
It's January 26th.
Oh, yes, sir. Okay. So overall, we're looking at both schools being opening, completed and opening within the next 4 years.
Yeah.
That's
It's going to be
great.
very,
Wow.
very busy.
Yes, sir. Already very busy. Okay. Ms. Richardson.
Why is it that Westwood is taking longer to rebuild than the Triple D High School?
Why is it take, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Yes, it's 2026 as opposed to 2025.
Terrence, would you like to?
Sure. Thanks, Terry. Good morning. Ms. Richardson, as you recall, there are some requirements that we have to have in place, and that's that Castaldi report that we've been working with you. That has to be submitted to the state, which we've accomplished. That will take some time for a review, and that's offsetting it. In addition to that, it allows us to run the projects in parallel with local labor forces and architects and those types of things. So we've scheduled that project to be parallel by a couple months. And really it is a couple months because, as you know, we are reusing the design. So that will let us speed up and allow us to get that done. But the primary reason is the Castaldi report and getting acceptance from the state. And we anticipate that over the next month or two to receive back their comments.
Thank you. With the, I asked that question because I'm sure if I didn't know the answer, there are people that would have the same question. So
Yes.
we got an answer to that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes,
Stay.
Ms. Felicia? Mhm.
My first question is, does any of this
You
money
need that to come.
utilize the Build Back Better federal dollars? Second question is any of it dependent on the next referendum? My third question is union labor involved in any of this construction?
Did you get that?
Go ahead.
No ESSER dollars are utilized for this. That's the Build Back Better. Second question?
Is any of it dependent on the next referendum?
The referendum we just discussed, no. None of, that is strictly for salaries, mental health, those things, nothing for construction. So no to that. And then they always take into consideration union hiring when they're dealing with the construction managers and those things.
Okay. You got both of your questions? I thought it was a third one. That's good. Okay, all right. Thank you, sirs.
Thank you.
All done, thank you.
All done, all right.
Just a reminder, this is, we're wrapping up. Our schools are going to be involved in heavy testing coming just within the next week. So they'll be very, very busy. We have our graduation season kicking off here the third week of May. And so the board is aware of that, and Chris will send out information to see who will be coming. We'll still be over at the stadium, just like it's been the last 2 years. And just a shameless plug for Port St. Lucie High School, Grease the musical is out. It's going to be in June, and I think Chris may have sent something out to y'all, if she hasn't, about if you're interested in buying tickets, because they'll go very, very quickly. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Jan, and thank you to all of the presenters today in the different areas of what we are doing as a school. Thank you so much. I want to make a special thank you to our guests who presented, Ms. Debbie Mark. That was a very good presentation, and we appreciate you giving us that full update on the referendum and how the monies were spent. We want to also thank the committee that each of you that came out to be supportive of today, and to we want to make sure that you are all in agreement. So being here, I'm sorry that my representative could not make it today, but I think, how many we have? We have 5, 6, about the whole committee. Is 5 of you? 6, I think, right? Somebody help me. 7, okay. So there are 7 of you, and out of the 7, I think only 1 did not make it today. Is that
2.
correct?
We had
2
5
of
of
them?
the 7.
Who's
We had 5 of the 7 here.
Okay, so thank you for the 5 of you that were able to move your busy schedule to be here today. We appreciate that. Okay. Outside of that, I wanted to make aware to the board that I am currently, and I mentioned it to Mr. Ingersoll a little earlier, I am currently going into each of our high schools to see the face-to-face, see the presentation in the classes for the African American Studies. And I have been to 2 schools, and we'll go to the rest of them all through this week, to just sit in the class and observe. And I have been very pleased with just yesterday. I went to both Centennial and Westwood High School and sat in their class. The teachers are incredible in both schools. And I really appreciate that. One of my observations is that as they taught, they were teaching the full history of African American studies. And when I say that, I mean the history of everybody that was involved during that time, and how everyone consists of different races, and those that really gave their lives, both white and black, to correct a very hard situation for the African Americans at that time. and how so many laid down their lives and risked their lives, both white and black, to make that difference. And so that was very impressive of how they delivered their curriculum. Thank you, Dr. Wiles, for the part that you've played in to ensure that every high school has that curriculum and that it is being taught appropriately. If all minds are clear, any board members have anything else you want to say before we end the meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Kelly.
I'm at the risk of being redundant, because it's been a while, going back to the high school. And you've heard me before, I haven't heard anything back from the board, so I know it's a done deal. The new high school will be down at the end of Crosstown Parkway, and I just gonna reiterate my concerns. I cannot get, Mr. Gent was nice enough, by the way, to have Mr. Sanders and 4 or 5 of the people that are on the planning for this. They've done a great job. They did their due diligence. They're doing a great job, and I'm sure the high school's gonna work out well as far as the building and everything. Again, where we're putting the high school, the placement, my concern, having been intimately involved in another life with that whole southwest annexation, 18 square miles, 28,000 platted lots already done. The way it's growing right now, you know, Riverland, if you read the paper, Riverland has a lottery on their lots and their homes, okay? I cannot get, and I understand, I cannot get an idea of when the Becker Road is gonna be built, but in my own head, I know that Becker Road, the same place that we would put the high school down there, and by the way, for the people that are watching, Becker Road is south, much further south than where tradition is, where the high school would go now, at the end of Crosstown Parkway. And my concern is that there are schools over there already, that we really need the high school down further south. And by the way, it's already been discussed and known that when it is all done and this part's built out, there will be over 54,000 platted lots in that area. You're talking about 130, 150,000 people. I know that many of those, and I've been reminded, are over 55. That's being transformed, folks. That's that whole thing with the realtors. They'll tell you that that's going to change. That's going to, a lot of them come in, they'll come in and they'll ask for, the developers will ask and say, we don't want to pay that impact fee because we're going to have over 55, so we don't want to pay that school impact fee. Well, houses have gone up so much, it's ridiculous how high they've gone. Impact fees are not high enough as far as I'm concerned. That's not a good thing for a politician to say, but I'm sorry, but it's true. Growth does not pay for itself. Our impact fees are not, just look at the referendum, things we have to do. The impact fee for education is not high enough, especially when houses are going up 40, 50% a year lately, and the impact fee stays the same or has been lessened in some cases. That's another subject. Put that aside. The new high school, the placement of where it is, it's fine. I'm sure it's going to work out, and I'm sure it's going to get filled, and it's going to take, the big thing is we have a 5-year plan. I voted for the 5-year plan that's in there. 5-year plan, I'm correct, is a living document. That's why I vote for it, because it constantly can be changed. So I always go with the 5-year plans, and it's a good plan. And again, the due diligence is going well. The concern is where it's being placed. It's going to be filled. It's going to take a lot of the other high schools are overfilled, and it's going to take a lot of pressure off the other high schools. However, the Crosstown Parkway is actually, when I look at it, is the only road that's going there. There's no other roads in that area going out there, whereas Becker Road, that area, is going to have many more. I need to go back to school. Is going to have, the accesses will be much, much better. And I'm sure that Becker Road is probably, where we would put it, will probably be done and built at the same time as we're doing Crosstown. However, this will be the last time that I mention it. I acquiesce. I'm done. It's over. I cannot find out when Becker Road's going to be done. There was a lot of lawsuits, as Mr. Gent knows. We're going to have to build another high school. As soon as we're done with this one, we're going to have to. I won't be here, but a lot of you will, Mr. Prince. Just remember my remarks. You're going to have to start on that other high school as soon as we get through with this one. That's all I'm going to say. The population is just going to. St. Lucie County is a great place to live, and people are finding out, and they're moving here like crazy. But that over 55 thing, that's going to change. They're going to go back, and they're just going to say, look, we have to change. We're going to have to, younger people are moving here. It's not all going to be over 55. And I know that's what Mr. Sanders and people based where we're putting this school now was because of the over 55 group that tries to just save that impact fee. And they're going to have to change, and they'll pay it. They don't care, because if they're selling houses, they'll just change it and pay the impact fee. So it's going to have to be built, and I understand why we're building it, and I agree with it, and I'm for the 5-year plan and for it. Just don't forget, we need that other high school, and we'll see what happens. I may be wrong, but I may be right, just like Billy Joel says, But good chance I'm going to be right, though. I know there's going to be 50,000 lots down there. I won't be around, but just keep in mind, Mr. Prince, need another high school. Okay, that's all I got to say on that. And I just want to thank our advisory committee. We're paying them the same stipend we paid them last time, right? I just want to say that we had a great group. This advisory group, I know most of them. It's a great group of people that are going to really help us out, and they do this on their own time. Nobody mentions they do this for free. They're here today, got up in the morning, came here, and just to help us out. So I really appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words that you said also about it. I will not mention the high school again, I promise, Troy. Okay? It's just. Okay.
Let the record show.
Thank you for your time.
Duly noted. There will be arteries, though. There will be north-south arteries, just like Becker Road would have with the with Crosstown coming out. But then there'll be the artery roads, Ridgeline, and there's other ones in there with the development that's going on. There'll be more than one access road coming into the school center because of the development that's going to go on there. But we can show you that later on.
And there's
Thank you.
constant growth, so as you said, we're going to have more schools eventually on that area of the county, because the growth is insane, and it's going to constantly grow. So at this time, with all heads clear, we are adjourned.